Okay, so first we have our topic today. We have our subtopics. We have your history, the definition of terms, drug classifications, drug standards, and lastly we have your drug information. So first, before we start, let me ask you, who actually invented medicine? Like lahat ng mga gamot na meron tayo today. Sino sa tingin nyo? Okay? So actually, wala naman talagang nakapag-invent ng gamot na meron tayo ngayon ng isang bagsakan lang. Okay? So eventually, your medicine evolved over thousands of years through what? To observation, yan, through experimentation, through trials and errors, ayan, through more discoveries, yan. So lahat ng piniprescribe ng mga doctors today, yung mina-administer ng mga nurses, or kaya mga dinidispense ng mga pharmacist, okay? Lahat ng meron tayong mga medicine today, okay? May sarili-sarili silang history, okay? So first, before we actually proceed dito sa history natin, what is pharmacology? And so, ano muna ang pharmacology? So, yung pinaka-basic lang definition niya, of course, from the Greek words, okay, from the Greek words pharmakon, and pharmakon, which means drug or medicine. And then from the Greek word logos, means study. So, yung pinaka-basic niya, of course, that would be the study of drugs. Ayan. So, eventually, if someone would ask you, what is pharmacology? It's the study of drugs. Study of drugs. Pharmacology. Ano yung pinaka-specific na pinag-aaralan natin dito? If yung parang simple mnemonic ko lang, like for P, we have the purpose of the drug. On H, on how it works. A for adverse effects. And then R, we have the right time, dose, person, ayan. Then M, diretso sa A, we have mechanism of action. Ayan. So again, if someone would ask you about pharmacology, it's the study of drugs. That's the basic definition of it. And if you would want to further explain it or give some more definition to it, we have P for purpose, H on how it works, A for adverse effects, right time, right dose, right patient, and the mechanism of action of your drugs. Okay? So, everything na meron tungkol sa drug. Everything about a drug, about a medicine. Okay? So, first, and that's it. I hope you understand what is pharmacology, pinaka-basic niya. Then we'll be going to the history of the pharmacology. So magta-time travel tayo. Okay, starting of course with ancient civilization. So during that time, if you would imagine kung doon tayo nakatira sa panahong yun, I wonder if paano tayo mabubuhay because they don't have hospitals, they don't have mga botika, wala rin silang mga doctor, wala silang mga nurses, wala silang mga gamot, wala everything. So, what would happen if nagkasakit tayo during that time? Ano pag may sakit tayo? Or kaya naman yung mahal natin sa buhay? Saan tayo kukuha? Okay? So, during that time, sa ancient civilization, they would use kung ano yung nasa paligid nila. Yan. Specifically, I guess, we have your nature. Yan. Sa nature. Okay? So, inobserve nila mabuti kung paano siya gamitin. Ayan. And then, eventually, yun na yung gagamitin nila dun sa mga taong may sakit, okay, may wounds or what. Ayan. They would apply that. They would have some repeated observations and they would see if nagkakaroon pa siya ng positive or beneficial effect dun sa mga patients or yung mga tao. Okay? During that time, of course. So, ayan. And then, of course, we have the different countries na examples ko lang dito that they would use during the ancient civilization. Ayan. So, first, we have your ancient China. Ayan. So, during sa ancient China, isa sa pinaka ginagamit nila is si ginseng. Specifically, yung root ng ginseng. Ayan. They would use it as an energy booster. Okay? So, ayan. So, inobserve ng mga Chinese healers nila before na naka, nakakapag-consume sila ng ginseng root, mas nakakapag-recover sila sa bilis dun sa sakit nila, mas nagiging energetic sila kasi nga ginagamit to as energy booster. And then yung shape kasi ng ginseng root na yun, para daw siyang shape ng tao. Ayan. So, naniniwala sila na, I guess, mas mapalakas yung katawan natin, ganun. Kasi parang, ganun kasi yung shape na nakita nila. Okay? So, paano ba siya na-discover? Hindi naman basta-basta na kinuha nila to, oh. Tapos pinatikim na dun, pinainom na sa mga tao, 'di ba? Of course, inobserve nila mabuti. Saan? Dun sa mga wild animals. Ayan. Sa mga wild animals during that time, na kapag kumakain sila nito, kahit anong sakit na dumapo sa kanila, nagiging active pa rin sila, nagiging healthy pa rin sila. So, yung mga tao nung time na yun, in-experiment nila yung root na yan. Ayan, tinry, ayan yung word ha. Ayan, dun sa mga tao na kapag experience ng fatigue, nanghihina sila, ayan. Then napansin nila, kaya ayan, ulit-ulit nilang tinry dun sa mga tao. Ayan, yes, so they use repeated observations. Ayan. And eventually, nakita nila, okay, na-confirm nila, ito nga yung kanya naging effect. Yan, nagkaroon siya ng mga ganitong effect. Beneficial effects. So, ito yun, to increase energy and stamina, to restore strength, and even enhance longevity. So, ayan. And then, kinonfirm lang ng modern researchers natin na may ginsenosides pala ang ating ginseng root. Ano ginagawa nito? Okay? So, siya talaga yung nakakatulong sa ating katawan to actually adapt to stressors, ayan, to reduce fatigue, ayan, to support our immune system, and also improve our cognitive function. Ayan. Ayan. So, ayan. So, ancient China, they actually use ginseng root and as their energy booster. Ito yung mga beneficial effects na binigay niya. And then, kinonfirm lang ng ating modern research that it has a compound, ginsenosides, that actually produces these effects. So, during the time, actually, mas mahal pa si ginseng kaysa sa gold. So, ganun siya ka-importante sa kanila. Okay? And then next, we have also sa ancient Egypt, they use honey. They use honey for wound healing, for wounds, for burns, and even infections. Yan. So, na-observe nila na yung mga taong nilagyan nila ng honey dun sa may mga sugat, ayan, mas mabilis nag-heal, saka less yung nagiging infection. Okay? As compared dun sa mga hindi nalagyan ng honey or hindi naka-applyan yung sugat nila ng honey. So, yan. Then, kinonfirm lang ulit ng modern science. Ayan. Ang honey natin, mataas kasi yung kanyang sugar concentration. So, that actually draws water away from your bacteria, kaya nape-prevent yung growth nila. Meron din siyang hydrogen peroxide, ayan, peroxide yan, that actually kills your microorganisms, ayan. Mababa rin yung pH niya, kaya hindi tumutubo or hindi nag-grow yung bacteria natin. Eventually, it reduces inflammation and promotes tissue repair. So, yun yung meron sa honey natin. And then, today, ginagamit pa rin naman siya sa hospital as your medical grade honey and for treating your difficult wounds. So again, we have in ancient Egypt, they use honey for wound healing, for burns and infection. Ayan. And ito yung meron sa kanyang characteristics on why it works to treat those, and because it has high sugar concentration, hydrogen peroxide, low pH, that eventually prevents the growth of your bacteria and kills them, and has the property of reducing inflammation and promoting tissue repair. Okay? And then, we have your ancient India. Sa ancient India, ito, isang kilala yan, na ginagamit talaga nila in their Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurvedic medicine, si turmeric. Ayan. Hindi lang siya ginagamit as spice, pero ginagamit rin siya in medicine. Ayan, as an anti-inflammatory. So, napansin nila before na si turmeric, nakakatulong siya to actually reduce swelling, yan, swelling, at saka pain, yan, if applied to your injuries. Yan. And dun sa mga tao na nagko-consume ito, halos lagi-lagi, nakakapag-experience sila ng fewer inflammatory conditions. Yan. So, eventually, yung pagiging effective niya, ni-record down yan, and na-pass down yan throughout the generation. So, ito yung mga uses niya to reduce inflammation, heal skin wounds, improve digestion, and treat your respiratory illnesses. So, yan si turmeric. Then, dun sa kanyang compound, meron pala siyang tinatawag na curcumin. Meron tayong tinatawag na curcumin. So, meron daw siyang curcumin. Siya yung naging dahilan kung bakit nakakapag-reduce tayo ng inflammation. Paano siya nag-work by blocking your inflammatory pathways. It works also as an antioxidant that helps protect ourselves from damage. Ayan. Pero si curcumin, hindi kasi siya madali ang na-absorb sa katawan natin. So, kinakailangan ng piperine, which is galing siya kay black pepper. So, sabay silang tinitake together. Ayan. Yung sinasabay-tabay take together. Ayan, sabay silang tinitake. Ayan. Sa piperine. Kasi sa piperine, mas, ayan. It actually significantly improves the absorption of your curcumin na meron kay turmeric. Ayan. So, sabay natin tinitake si turmeric at saka si black pepper. Again, meron kasing piperine si black pepper para mas ma-improve yung absorption ni curcumin sa ating katawan. Then lastly, we have your garlic, under still in India. Ayan. So, garlic ginagamit nila before against infection, to treat infections and also improve digestions. So, meron siyang allicin, which is a sulfur compound. Ayan. Has these properties: antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and helps reduce blood pressure. Mm, okay. So, ano bang halaga ng pag-discover ng mga um, na-discover before during ancient civilization? Okay. So, siyempre nagagamit pa rin naman natin up until now kung ano yung na-discover nila before. Nagiging basis pa rin naman natin for our modern medicines. Okay? Because they actually contributed significantly. Yan. And madami pa rin namang mga uh, natural products na naging sources pa rin ng mga gamot natin today. Like for example, ayan, for example, we have, hindi ko siya nasulat ito, we have aspirin. Ayan, si aspirin. Ayan. Saan siya galing? Okay, from willow tree bark. Willow tree bark. Ayan, some examples naman. They still come from natural sources. Ayan. And then we have morphine. Morphine comes from opium poppy. And then we have quinine. Comes from cinchona bark. Cinchona bark. Ayan. Ayan. So, tandaan nyo lang yung mga yan. We have, again, this. Okay, mga gamot natin, they still come from natural resources. So, nagiging basis pa rin naman natin to actually make those compounds. For example, again, for aspirin, they came from willow tree bark. For morphine, sa opium poppy. Kay quinine, sa cinchona bark. Ayan. So, that is for your ancient civilization. And after which, we have Hippocrates. Hippocrates. And he is actually known as the father of medicine. The father of medicine. Okay? Kasi before, naniniwala yung mga tao na kapag nagkasakit ka is parang may ginawa kang masama or sinapian ka or galit yung Diyos sa'yo. Ayan. Pero sabi ni Hippocrates, hindi ganun yun eh. I-observe natin mabuti. Ayan, observation. Okay? Yung patient natin, tignan natin kung ano ba yung symptoms na pinapakita niya, gano'n ba katagal, ano ba yung mga nakain niya before na nagkasakit siya, Okay? And then yung temperature niya, mataas na ba, mababa ba, ano ba nangyayari, and ano ba yung nag-cause nung sakit niya, rather than sa paniniwala. Okay? So, ano yung in-introduce niya? He actually introduced scientific thinking. Ayan. So, pinalitan niya yung pananaw natin sa medicine na through superstition, it is more of observation. Okay? Or scientific thinking. So, yan. Nalalahan natin si Hippocrates. He is the father of medicine. After which, we have si Dioscorides. Dioscorides. Okay? Yan. So, si Dioscorides, he was actually traveling with Roman soldiers. So, habang nagtitravel siya, nag-aaral siya ng mga plants, eventually nakapagsulat siya ng libro na De Materia Medica. Ang nakalagay doon is 600 na plants. And by hand niya lang sinulat yan, wala siyang Google na ginagamit or what, talagang pinag-aralan na siya. At sinulat na talaga. Ay, wala siyang ginamit na laptop, wala siyang ginamit iPad to actually write that down. So, ganun. Nakagawa siya ng isang libro. Ayan, we have your De Materia Medica. And up until now, ginagamit pa rin siyang mga na libro ng mga doctors natin. Ayan. So, si Dioscorides, remember, Diyos ko, the Lubbock, the De Materia Medica. So, again, he is a Greek physician who wrote the De Materia Medica. Okay? And then next we have si Galen. Okay? So, si Galen naman is, okay, kung dati meron na tayong, so meron tayong mga herbs, diba? Yan, may mga herbs na tayo. So, paano natin gagawin yun as medicine? Paano tayo makakagawa ng gamot? Kahit na may mga materials tayo. So, of course, kailangan natin silang i-prepare. Okay? Yan, i-prepare. So, yung nakapag-discover nun is walang iba kundi si Galen. Okay? Siya yung nakapag-discover ng methods ng pag-prepare ng mga gamot natin. Like, for example, we have powders, we have creams, we have your ointments, we have your syrups, we have your capsules, we have your tablets. So, lahat ng mga preparations is actually nanggaling kay Galen. Okay? Ayan. So, si Galen is more of the preparation. Prepared many medical formulations. Ayan. Who studies on anatomy, physiology, influence medicine for more than 1,000 years. Ayan. So, yung actually, tatandaan niya lang kay Galen is galing gumawa ng gamot. Ayan. Galing gumawa ng gamot. Nakikita ba? Ayan. So, si Galen, galing gumawa ng gamot. Galing gumawa ng gamot. O more on preparations. So, yan. Then, sa Middle Ages naman natin, dito, mas naging organized na yung mga medicines natin. Meron na tayong mga hospitals. May sarili ng trabaho. So, meron na yung mga physicians laban natin. Meron na yung mga doctors natin. So, meron na yung mga pharmacists natin. Meron na yung mga nurses natin. So, yan. So, dito na actually nagsimula ang teamwork ng mga healthcare professionals natin. So sa Middle Ages, and then also we have Renaissance. Renaissance, we have the word rebirth, kasi during that time din, nagkakaroon din ng stagnancy sa pag-discover ng medicines dito, na naging curious ulit yung mga tao. Okay? Ano ba pwede natin gawin? How do we actually do this? Ayan, so nagkaroon ng experimentation, development of new medicinal preparations. Ayan. So, mas naging scientific na dito ulit. Ayan. So, nagkakaroon na ng mga researches ulit dito. Ayan. During Renaissance period. Ayan. Experimentation and development of new medicinal preparations. Okay. Then, next we have si Paracelsus. Si Paracelsus, so siya sa mga important na people na dapat kilala natin, of course. Meron dito yung the dose makes the poison. The dose makes the poison. Tandaan nyo yan. The dose makes the poison. Ayan. Nakakapatay ba ang tubig? Yes or no? So, kung answer mo is no, tama. Okay, ay. Ang answer mo is no, mali. So, dapat yes. Okay. Pag sobrang tubig, nagkakause siya ng intoxication. Okay. Eh, ang oxygen, nakakapatay rin ba? Yes, of course. Ang vitamins, nakakapatay rin ba? Yes, of course. Nagkakaroon ng overdosing. Yan. Ganun rin sa ating paracetamol. Diba, ang paracetamol natin, if, of course, sa safe dose na yun, nakakapag-reduce siya ng fever. Pero pag masyado ng malaki yung dose niya, pwede tayo magkaroon ng liver failure. Yan. Okay? So, again, the dose makes the poison. So, ang lesson natin doon, wala naman talagang completely safe. Dumedepende lahat sa dose natin. So, yan. There's also, ayan. It's also ang word of the father of modern technology. So, in-emphasize niya yung dose makes the poison. Okay? So, tatanan nyo kay Paracelsus. Ayan, para means proper amount required always. Proper amount required always. Yan. So, ulitin lang natin. Baka makalimutan lang ninyo. Ayan. Paracelsus. Ayan. He is our father of modern toxicology. Tandaan nyo, the dose makes the poison. Dumedepende pa rin lahat yan sa dosing natin. If safe ba or hindi. Okay? So, nagmamatter talaga yan. It would cause toxicity or an organ failure if sumobra. Kag kumulang naman, of course, hindi siya gagana. Ayan. So, sabi ni Paracelsus, the dog's makes the poison. So, tandaan nyo, pag nanginiging para, proper amount,